Hey guys, my name's Ian Johns. I'm head Paralympic coach for GB Judo. I've been in post since 2014 to present day, and I'm a retired fighter. So I fought for GB for a number of years. Could never quite just get through the ceiling to get to the next level, but did okay. Represented our country for a number of years. Wish that I could have gone to Olympic Games, but didn't quite make it, so that's the way it goes. Got quite a serious injury back in 2014, snapped my ACL, 2010, sorry, snapped my ACL, and that's where my coaching career started, really. Felt really lucky, bumped into a coach of the England programme that was coaching juniors at the time, and he invited me along to some training sessions, and yeah, been coaching ever since. So luckily found my way onto the para coach programs, like did the inspiration program in London. Took a couple of guys from my region down to London to experience what it was like to be a Paralympic fighter. And yeah, after my degree, I started a degree back in 2011, finished my degree, sports science, and then did a teaching degree off the back of that. And then the day I qualified, I got a phone call to invite me to apply for this job. So, and I've been in it ever since. So that's kind of how I got into it. A little bit lucky, really. Never really expected to be working with the para athletes. Probably expected to be a junior coach of some description, but definitely didn't ever expect to be working for the national team. That is for sure. Eternally grateful that I am. This is definitely. It's been a really good learning experience for me. I didn't really know a lot about Paralympic sport or Paralympic judo, especially. So yeah, having to learn the rules and regulations and all things classification and things like that. It's been a really good experience for me. So probably the highlights that I can think of, I've had loads since 2014. My first ever event in Brazil, the head coach was supposed to be coming. I was supposed to be an assistant coach to him at the time. He couldn't make it, so I ended up being the head coach for that event, and I took, what was it, four lads over to Brazil. I'd never been to a proper VI event as such to coach at it, but we saw the VI event in London, but that was it. So and it was brilliant. Like we took 4 medals. We got second on the medal table with just 4 fighters. It was crazy, but it gave me a really good insight into what Paralympic judo is, and that the guys that we have already are world class, and so my job was just to polish them up and go from there, really. So, but it also showed me that the rest of the world isn't that bad at judo, and Paralympic judo is right up there as a sport, and it's getting closer and closer to Olympic judo with every single event that I go to. So that was my first ever really drop into it. I think the World Games in 2015 in Seoul was unbelievable. It took me to back to probably one of the places. So Seoul for me in 1988 was one of the events that really got me hooked into judo. One of my club mates, Sharon Rendell, she won the event there. In Seoul, in the exact same stadium that we went to, so it was really special for me. And we took 3 world medals that day as well, which was just phenomenal, like just absolutely phenomenal. 2 young lads who I've been on a journey with since the beginning took medals, and off the back of that, they qualified for Rio. So yeah, that was probably one of my favourite events. It was just brilliant all around. Brilliant judo from our guys, but then also like the team camaraderie that day. We just set out that week set out exactly how I want to run this team. Yeah, Skelly becoming European champion. I've worked with Skelly now for Chris Skelly since I started, and yeah, to see him achieve something like European champion, they don't come along very often, them opportunities, and yeah, he works so hard, and he's such a good ambassador for British judo, and he deserved with the amount of effort he puts in to take a medal and a title of that honour. And I'm chuffed to bits to be part of that journey for him. So, and that day, I mean, it was in GB, it was in Walsall, so on home soil as well, in front of his friends and family, and yeah, it was cool. And my coach was there as well, so which was really nice. So I could celebrate with my coach, you know, attaining a title that I'm not even close to what my coach got in his club. But yeah, so and then probably the Rio Paralympic Games, so that was my first ever go at being an Olympian. You know, so I led the team out, and it made me really think about my journey as an athlete, as a fighter, because I didn't quite get there, and I really wanted to, and I really tried my best to do so, but you know, for whatever reason, I couldn't get through, I couldn't punch through, and when I stepped out that first day, I felt like I belonged, and yeah, we did great as well. We got 3 medal matches. We lost all 3 medal matches, but you know, I was dead chuffed at my first ever Paralympic Games to even get fighters qualified in the first place, but then to get them actually fighting on the big stage on the medal matches was tremendous. I do wish we could have come away with the medal, but what it has done is the lads that have carried on is made them stronger, both mentally and physically. You know, they've been there now, so it also shows me that we can do that, that we're of that level. Yeah, so fingers crossed Tokyo. We could get to some medal matches again, and with best performance, you know, we might just push through. So we'll have to wait and see. And then off the back of all the work that I do in judo, I also work for I work for IBSA, and a part of their you know, coaching education. I'm the coaching education director for IBSA as well. So as part of that, I get to do some seriously cool stuff as well. So you know, I've been over to Rwanda to do some coaching, to how to coach Paralympic athletes. I did some stuff in Malta, and then last year I went over to Japan, which is the home of judo, to do some stuff for the Agitos Foundation, to help coach Asian nations, or coaches of Asian nations, and how to coach Paralympic athletes there as well. So that was a massive honour for me. It was like one of the best universities in Japan. I'm coaching coaches how to coach. It was a really, really cool experience for me, I suppose, away from competition. Any considerations? So the considerations I have for when coaching my Paralympic athletes or fighters, I like to call them fighters, by the way, first and foremost, probably get organised. You know, for every event that we go to, we have a blueprint of what time we're leaving, what time we're arriving, you know, which buses we're going to use or trains we're going to use when we get there, you know, which hotels, phone numbers of the contacts in in nations like Uzbekistan or Japan, wherever we're competing or training, and then making sure that I've got like the day set out for the fighters. Back home, same. Make sure that they're organised, that the guys know what they're doing. With the caveat that actually knowing that stuff will go wrong. Like, the amount of times that we've landed at an airport and our flight has been cancelled, or we haven't been given the facility to go training, so we just train in the hotel lobby instead, or up and down the corridors of the hotels. So just being organised, but understanding that you're gonna have to think on your feet sometimes. That's probably one of my first things for a coach, not just coaches of para athletes, but just coaches in general. It's okay to not know everything. But I think quite early on in my career as a judo coach, I was quite good at saying I don't know, but we can work it out. Like, I like working problems out. I like to fix problems. Like most coaches, if we have a problem, we'll try and fix that or work it out. And I think a lot of times people just try to make it up on the fly and just like, oh yeah, I know this, but actually, just show that you're a little bit vulnerable, because athletes, fighters, they actually respect that. If you don't know and you tell them that you don't know, but you're willing to work out the problem, that's the real bit, that you're really willing to do that. Yeah, I suppose that's about it really, for as far as like consideration. I mean, my guys are all visually impaired, so I have to have clear communication. I have to for a northerner as well, that's quite difficult, so, but I have to have clear communication with my guys. What I do is I find out what is possible, rather than finding an issue with every single thing that we're doing. So if we're doing coaching and I have a completely blind fighter with me, then I probably tend to give them more communication. I tell them, I get my hands on them. If we're with a couple of fighters that have got a little bit better vision, then we try to use the phone, because they can hold the phone close to the face and they can see a little bit of that. But yeah, I always try to find out what is possible before looking at the what is impossible bit. Yeah, but I can remember a conversation with two fighters back in 2014. I was like, so what do you want from me? How do you want me to coach you? And what they actually said was, we just want to be treated like Olympic fighters. Like we want to be treated like elite athletes. Brilliant. That's music to my ears. So yeah, I treat them as elite athletes or elite fighters. If the Olympic team are up at 6 o'clock running, then we'll find a way to send you out running at 6 o'clock. If we're going up a mountain, we're going up a mountain. End of discussion. So we have to do. I treat them like they are elite fighters. I give them no leeway. So they have to, when they're on the mat, they have to train as hard as they can. When they're in the gym, they have to train as hard as they can, and then they just need some support sometimes. So if we're out having food and they can't read the menu, so I have to help them with the menu, or if it's dark outside, then I usually have to guide them. But I don't have to do a lot with them, to be fair. That they've been getting around the world long before they came into contact with me, so they're teaching me most of the time what I need to do. Any more recommendations? So I would just say, don't make it about the tracksuit, but both for athletes and for coaches. It's not about the tracksuit. It's definitely about the journey. Just think of when you've retired and you've got your grandkids and you're telling them all the stories about when you were a coach or when you were an athlete. It's about the stories. So my guys, sleeping in a yurt in Mongolia, out of Mongolia in the Gobi Desert, and running up mountains is a much more interesting story than the t-shirt that they got for that. So it's not about the tracksuit. It's not about the money, about the rewards and things. It's probably about the story itself. Yes, of course, we're an elite sport, and yes, of course, titles and medals are important, but don't make it about the prize money, that sort of stuff. The journey towards Skelly becoming European champion, for example, was phenomenal. So don't make it about that. Try not to be too serious all the time. Have a laugh. Me and my team, we're like a little family, and we're constantly having a great laugh. Usually at each other's expense, but actually, we have a great team, and that's not just the fighters. That's the support coaches. That's the the physios. That's everybody that works with the team. We have a great laugh, and we know when it's business time, so we get switched on. But actually, we tend to try to make as much fun time as we possibly can. And then probably my last little bit, one bit that I haven't done very well over the years, and that's finding time for myself. When I first started, I was in the trenches. I wanted to get the guys qualified for the games, and I left very little time for myself to do any development or just to have, relaxation time. Whereas now, I've got so much better at it that I just say, no, this is my hour. This is my couple of hours. I'm going out for a run, or I'm going to the gym, or I'm going to read a book or listen to some podcasts or anything like that. Make sure that now I find time for myself. So, well, hopefully that video was okay for you, and any recommendations that I've given is just my opinions or my thoughts and stuff like that. So,